Hello, everyone. Welcome, willkommen to your weekly astrological live stream with me, Natalie, spelled N-A-T-A-L-E-E. Go ahead and make sure to check your subscription. Make sure you are subscribed and that you have toggled the bell for the notification so that you know when I go live for the Psychic Tarot messages. We are going to be covering October the 16th to October the 23rd, a week that I have called Adaptation. And it is going to be an adaptation. Ooh, but it's just going to be a little bit of a rough one. That's all. So I'm going to start with a nice overview of how I see this entire week, and then we're going to break that down and go day by day. So for this week, we're going to have a lot of action more towards the end of the week as far as results are concerned. So don't freak out. Monday, Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday. That's just like an incubation sort of a part of the week. The results are going to be more towards the end of the week. And that's because we have the Sun and Mercury doing some crazy things. We've got the quarter moon. We're in the wormhole. We're in the portal of the eclipse. So everything is really, really big and really outsized. So, okay. So yeah, I'm done with that. Let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Let's start. Oh, I forgot the thing. What will we do? Monday the 16th. Okay, we have the moon in Scorpio making an opposition to Jupiter in Taurus, and then later on tonight making an opposition to Uranus retrograde in Taurus. So Monday into Tuesday, with the moon in Scorpio, it feels very big and vivid. We're feeling big, deep feelings, very outsized, very big proportions. And the hard part about this, so the solar eclipse was over the weekend in Libra, and that was the energetic impulse, or, this birthing of a new image, if you will. So the moon going through Scorpio has us really emotionally connecting to Scorpio is where we bond with others, and it's where we put up boundaries with others, and not just other people, but thoughts and feelings and ideas and just attachments. Bondages, attachments we have, what we will detach from, what we want to keep out of our lives, of our minds, of our hearts. So these, like Sunday, when was this? Yeah, Sunday, Monday, a little bit of Tuesday morning, we're really feeling kind of into the future of, could I really live without this? Could I really live with this? What can I really bear? What am I, like, honestly emotionally connected to and connecting to? And what is there a lack of something, like a real lack of, like, a need that I have? Is there, whatever it happens to be. So I would expect people to be feeling either very close to certain people and things and situations, feeling very far in others, but whatever it is, it's going to be very, like, big and sharp and vivid. And, the opposition to Jupiter is going to make it clear, if you feel some kind of, like, longing, or if you feel something is, like, very off, or if you feel like you really want to be close, the love, the hate, the revenge, the competition, the whatever the feelings are. So don't judge yourself for these feelings. I feel like that's another thing. I feel like all of our favorite spiritual people's channels are just going to get lost to all the politics and stuff. That's going to suck. But, if we have some still standing to give us some, like, spiritual, juice and sustenance over the next little while, I'll be very grateful. Because that solar eclipse already kicked my ass. You guys already did. So hopefully, you guys are having a good entry into this week ahead. Whatever you're feeling, don't judge yourself for having these feelings, because even on the public stage talking about certain feelings, you get, judged, or, the rocks get thrown at you or something. So just know privately what you're feeling. And you'll probably want to keep it pretty private. All right, Tuesday. I guess I won't shake the... I don't know why I have Altoids for you guys. It's not like you can actually smell me. Tuesday, the 17th of October, we have the moon in Scorpio trining over to Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And then we have the moon ingressing into Sagittarius, making a square over to Saturn retrograding in the sign of Pisces. That's right. So check your subscription. Make sure you are subscribed. All of my current up-to-date offerings can be found through my Stan store and on Patreon. So make sure to check those two places for the most up-to-date offerings that I have. So Tuesday, the moon, like I said, going to be trining Neptune. That'll be great for either inspiration or feeling maybe creativity, but maybe having like a sense of peace with you about things, making peace with certain things. But then the moon enters Sagittarius. So when the moon enters Sagittarius from like Tuesday, Wednesday, part of Thursday, we're moving out of that feeling connection of like what's missing or what do I need to change or what's going really well, whatever. And when the moon enters Sagittarius, now we're taking like the broader view of life. We're saying, okay, I know how I feel. I have this longing, or I have this need, or this isn't quenched, or I need a firmer boundary with this, or I don't ever want to feel like this ever again. Okay, I know how I feel. Now, how does that fit in to like the movie of your life? How does that, okay, how am I going to like organize this, but like in the big picture? So when that happens, on Tuesday, it bumps up into Saturn retrograde in Pisces. I have to do a Saturn salon, and we will do a Saturn salon. We're about to ease up the Saturn stuff. Saturn will go direct November the 4th, I believe, beginning of November, couple weeks away. And then we'll be able to really write new karma, because with Saturn retrograde, it's just we're internalizing lessons and, you know, swallowing some hard pills. And so that big picture that we're trying to build and circumstances are helping us try to say, okay, I know how I feel. Now, how am I going to fit it into my life? Knocking into Saturn, that's kind of like we have a software upgrade, you know, the new vision, but it's on old technology. The device, it needs a new motherboard. It needs a new, you know, it needs to be updated to handle the new software. So there could be some adjustments there. Also, something interesting happening from like Tuesday to Wednesday. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we've got the sun in Libra crossing the south node, opposing the north node in Aries, and we have Mercury doing the exact same thing. Now, Mercury and the sun are going to meet together. So when any planet is like within, I think it's like 8 to 17 degrees, please correct me, astrologers. Feel free to correct me. Or I don't know, I'm not the end all be all of any freaking astrology knowledge. So feel free to correct me. I believe it's 8 to 17 degrees under the beams, under the sunbeams, that planet. And there's that. But then when the planet is within 8 degrees of the sun, it's combust. And then when it's in 0 degrees, it's Cazimi. Cazimi means it's in the heart of the sun. So with Mercury, this is an exterior superior conjunction that's on the opposite side. So we had an inferior conjunction in September, which was more about internal illumination and realizations, inner and outer. And this one, this week, happening Thursday, Friday, it's still an inner illumination, but it's an opportunity where we can kind of match our external reality, or circumstances may just manifest and give us what we are on the inside. It'll match what we are on the inside. It's about that principle matching inside and outside. And that's when we're going to see results. That's when we're going to see probably some major announcements from people. But it's like the dross that just burns away. All of the crust, all of the crumbs, all of the silt of a planet just like burns away, so that all you have is the light of awareness, you have the truth, you have what is, you have who you are. You know, there's no filigree, there's no ornamentation. It's just like the essence of it. Squaring Pluto. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna read this to you a little bit more how I read my astrology for myself. I think that's gonna help you more. I'm gonna really stay away from the mundane astrology just for my own sake and for everyone else's like individual. I think this is going to be a great week if you're very strong like as an individual, if you really trust like your spirituality or yourself, or you believe in something bigger than yourself. I think it'll go better for like those kinds of individuals. So where was I think I was talking about Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. So Tuesday could be a little bit of a difficult adjustment, especially because the sun is going to be the first one to oppose the North Node in Aries. So up until the end of the week, it's more like we're making space. We're making a clearing for something new to be there. I don't know about you guys, but I felt the loss first and foremost of this solar eclipse. It's a new moon, but it's with the South Node. So it's like you can't have both. You can't do it all. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't make everyone happy. And so, you know, there could have been, so this week could, up until the end of the week, could be what I can live without, what I have to live without, what is bearable to live without. And not just, guys, it's not like just relationships. Don't think that it's like, oh, you know, it's a mentality, because it's Mercury, it's the mind, it's mentality, it's our relationship to ourselves, our relationship to our own lives, our relationship to our mind, our relationship to relationships. It's just that kind of a thing. So that Cazimi moment is, we're heading towards a reset. We're heading towards an alignment, that we're going to get into alignment. But up until we get into alignment, we have to reconcile and accept what's out of alignment. And, you know, having a hard boundary of it is or it isn't. We feel it or we don't feel it. And that can't be faked. Like Scorpio cannot be faked. Okay. Like it's, so that's what Sunday, actually, Sunday this 15th, all day Sunday, all day Monday, and Tuesday morning, you're going to be feeling that where your real boundaries are, where you really feel bonded, where you really feel connected. You know, your heart's either in the job or it's really, really not, or your heart is really in this city or not in this, whatever it happens to be. So expect that to be super vivid. Tuesday, the vibe changes and it's about the vision, getting that vision together, but you're coming up against some realistic concerns. You have to update some technology. You have to get new computers or whatever, but it, like in your life, in that. Now remember, Saturn's about to go direct. So this is not anything new with the Saturn in Pisces. So it should start to ease up, because now you're getting the vision. Now the vision's updating to where you have the real agenda for yourself, the reality of your life, the reality of what it really looks like for you to step up and live in your, you know, actualized potential, something like that, right? So don't take it too hard, like Tuesday with that square to, don't be afraid of Saturn. Saturn is your homie, okay? Is your comrade. I promise. I promise it's all worth it. Wednesday the 18th, we have, so yeah, so the sun crosses the South Node. You're making space. You're just making space in your heart, in your mind, in your life somewhere for something more in alignment to come in. Wednesday, it's like Mercury making that same little, and the moon in Sag will square Venus in Virgo. I'm not even concerned about that. Moon square Venus, there may be like minor discomforts. You go to the restaurant, they don't offer you water right away, and you're like, what? Where's my water? I'm an American. I get water immediately, or something. Like it's not, that's not a big deal either. Mercury opposing the North Node. Likely communicating or talking about airing out some changes of our minds that we're having and things that are happening. And because Mercury's about to be in alignment and we're making room, the dross is being burned away, falling away. I kind of feel a little bit of like a mourning procession of black carriages this week. But it's okay. It's okay. Because, on one hand, we do have that loss, and just kind of sitting with that of like, wow, like things are really changing, or I have to really adjust to something. I have to really, it's a whole new vibe, whole dawn, brave new world. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life, and Mercury crossing that south node could be some ideas or mentalities or something, conversations, and you may get like this brilliance, like a little moment of brilliance if a relationship or if a conversation turns out to be more like understanding or more, compassionate or something. That could be nice, but it's still opposing the North Node in Aries, which is saying like, I love you, man, but I gotta see where this takes me. I have to follow my guidance. I have to go explore. I have to go see. I have to go try. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds like this renegade suicide mission, but I have to go try. I just have to try this. So, also on Thursday, we have the moon in Sagittarius squaring Neptune in Pisces, sextiling Mercury in Libra. The sun sextiles the moon in Sagittarius. The moon in Capricorn, moon will enter Capricorn, sextile Saturn retrograding in Pisces. And that's when we have, I think it's like late at night too, or later in the day. It's going to happen with 2 degrees, 25 and 26 degrees Libra. We have the superior Cazimi. So did I switch over to Thursday? I think I did. Okay, so this is still Thursday. So the Cazimi is like a full moon moment for Mercury and the sun. And this is the moment of illumination and alignment. So I would expect maybe as early as Wednesday, but definitely Thursday to Sunday to be the days of like announcements, proclamations, telling people, if you're getting to know someone, telling them how you feel, all that kind of thing. Like just maybe the boss is stepping down at work, maybe new people are getting promoted, people are leaving, people are taking maternity leave, like all of those like types of announcements and things, probably the later part of the week. So the moon in Sag squaring Neptune, some bubbles can be burst in terms of that could just be like timing or something about the vision. It's not exactly looking like how you thought it was going to look, or, something, and that could be for better or for worse. So don't prejudge that. I watch these squares to Neptune, and a lot of the times, more often than not, things are going better than I thought they were going to go. So you could be a worrywart and thinking the absolute worst, and then it just proves you wrong because it's a square, but it turns out to be better than you thought it was going to go. So that's what we're leaning into with this. The sextile to Mercury and Libra promotes understanding. The sun sextiling the moon, growth in relationships. So this is ultimately about educating us about relationships. When the moon enters Capricorn and sextiles over to Saturn retrograde in Pisces, I love that. It's very realistic. When the moon enters Capricorn on Thursday, it's like the work, it's like we get really serious. Like the vision, we're done. Okay, we got the vision. We know where to make room for the vision. We know, we can tell what little blocks need to change and move around in their little places to accommodate the vision. And then the moon enters Capricorn on Thursday, and it's serious and it's time to get to work. So that Thursday moment with the superior Cazimi, that's when like the one moment that Mercury's like briefly strengthened. That's the messenger with the meeting with the king. It's like, okay, these are the new orders. Okay, I got it. So that's like reforging your blade, that moment. So that's like the moment of brilliance. You're in true alignment. You're seeing what needs, or you're seeing it. It's externalized in your environment or in your relationships or in your relationship to relationships, and it's there. It's your inner self and your outward principle. There's either congruence or there's cognitive dissonance. You're either going to see like, this is exactly what I signed up for, or this is not at all what I signed up for. Okay, so there's something that we're building towards on Saturday, which I'm going to start talking about on Thursday. So Thursday, Friday is like that Cazimi moment. And that Cazimi, the Sun and Mercury are going to square Pluto on Saturday. And but it builds. It's going to be building. And the square to Pluto, that's really, really, it's an ego death. And you want to be cognizant of your personal power. That's why I'm saying this is so much better if you're like an individualist, because then no one can take power away from you or like manipulate you to feel one way or another. So the square to Pluto, like I said, the end of the week is when announcements are going to be made and news is going to break, and there's going to be a lot of it. And if you remember, what did we go through? It was like the 5 really very stoic principles, practicing detachment. I don't have a little paper here, but go back to that other video. That's really going to work out the very best. It's going to be working out the very best. So for this entire weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that's going to be the crunchiest. I'm just going to talk about Friday. I'll put it in Fridays. Friday the 20th. Depending on where you are, okay, the Cazimi, Mercury square Pluto. Friday, the moon's in Capricorn, sextiling Mars in Scorpio, stamina. Trining Venus in Virgo, comfortable and organized, taking things seriously. And it's like once the moon enters Capricorn, you put on the suit, you know how you feel, you know the vision, and you're just like, okay, we're ready to make changes in the company. We're ready to get online here. So like Thursday, that's why I'm saying like Thursday onwards, really like the day. Moon in Capricorn, taking care of business, trining Jupiter retrograding in Taurus is very encouraging. And then Friday, Mercury squares Pluto. How I look in my chart at these things, squares and oppositions. And this is what I saw. I'm an 18-degree Capricorn sun. And so this eclipse squared me. It squared my sun. How I look at squares and oppositions, when I see these things coming up for myself, I go, wow, Natalie, you're going to get so motivated. You're about to be really motivated. Oh, Mars squares your moon. Someone's going to attack you and you're going to be so motivated. Or someone's going to, attack your reputation. You're going to be so motivated. Or someone's going to try to hurt your feelings and you're going to be so motivated. Or, and that's Friday. I'm a Mercury square Pluto person too. So I'll just help you with this on Friday. So this past Friday, the day the moon was in Libra, I got this email. When I tell you, family, that I lost my shit, I absolutely, and it wasn't anything new. It was not any new information. I already knew this information like in August, but for some reason, the eclipse, the solar eclipse in Libra, I just like felt feelings. I just felt the feelings of it. And I feel like snapped is such a perfect word for what happens, because like you feel that, like it's like you're sitting on a branch in your life, and then like the branch just snaps, and you just like you're in a free fall, and like that's exactly what it feels like. You can even like hear it, like snap. There's no. Usually when something happens, you get an email, someone says something to you, whatever. There's a space. There's a moment. There's some space between like the message or whatever's happening and your response, your reaction. And what you're supposed to train yourself to do in self-mastery is like to take that little like millisecond, that little space, and like expand it. You're supposed to expand that space so that you have more and more self-power. Math. There was no space. It was a snap. That's all it was. Okay. So it's like we work towards these things, but you know, we're all a work in progress here. So I angry cried about it for about like 45 minutes. And then do you know what I did, you guys? I got over myself and I got back to work. I went right forward to what I always do on Fridays, took over the dining room table, got writing, wrote for hours, did my thing, did my TK, did my little show, and I just kept going. And you will have to do that too. You'll have to keep going. Motivating, very motivating. And you know, that's really the answer, is to see every single thing is as like motivating. But I mean, maybe that's just how. So if there's any, if you're dealing with any Aquarius, sun, moon, risings, maybe that's just how the Aquarian moon works. And I just didn't feel it for like months later. But but that's the thing about like taking your power back in a situation, is that you get to decide what you're going to do and how you're going to feel. And I even feel like I was rewarded because I had this wonderful dream that night into Saturday morning where I had this like very psychic close connection with my characters. And I haven't had many dreams like that in my life for being a writer and writing my entire life. So I feel like I got a little blessing, like I got a little magic dust in that lovely, beautiful dream. But yeah, it caught me off guard. And then I went down this random wormhole. Did you guys? I only saw the movie Troy, but I don't know if you guys know that Zeus. You know what? We're not even going to get into it. We're not going to go down that digression. But it was really eerily connected, sort of, to like this email that I got. It was just uncanny. That's the thing with eclipses, is that during eclipse windows, like information can come in through like one area of your life and not have anything to do with another area of your life. But when it hits, it's like a ping pong machine and it all just like lights up and it's all interconnected. So at any point this week, you could be just getting random information psychically through. I need to get off that. I'm not getting those. I don't want those emails anymore. It's not good for my mental health. So it's just like it's just we. I mean, mine lasted for about 45 minutes, and then I got over myself and got on with my life. So I want you to have that in mind for Friday, that whatever that Mercury square Pluto is, because here's the thing: you being in your true alignment could upset someone else's apple cart. It could, you know, cannot make everyone happy, or you feel like it can't be like a win-win situation, or it could even be that you're trying to force yourself into something. You're trying to force yourself into a city or a job or a relationship that you're telling yourself is like, this is it, this is it, this is it. But it's like not, and you're just like imploding from the inside. So I would say, as long as whatever is going on is different and getting you out of your comfort zone, you're doing it right. You're doing it just right. You're doing great. Because remember, we're not supposed to be really like manifesting on eclipses and eclipse energy. So, you know, I would expect Fridays, Thursday, Friday, something not really going perfectly, not going our way. And this is so perfect for Libra, because Libra is about like the whole story. Likely people don't have the whole story. Libra is about like the other side of the story. So I would say really try to talk to the people involved in like your circumstances and situations directly to them. Don't just rely on like your psychic connection or something. Like really verbally talk to them and make sure that that will tell you, if you're talking or FaceTiming or whatever, will tell you if you're really on the same page, or if you're getting a different vibe, or if something's off. Like, you really do want to make sure that you're interfacing, because even in the best of circumstances, this could still be I'm not picking up what you're putting down. You're not picking up what I'm putting down. And it could still be difficult communications wise. So really juice up the beginning of the week and the middle of the week to put together your feelings and your vision, because we're going to really, people are going to be very like maybe kind of stuck in it, like in the weekend. Like in Blue Jasmine. Oh, it's a Blue Jasmine. So it's like, okay, so I got over it. I moved on with my life, right? So like, but you know, if a teenager is going through that kind of a emotional breakdown, maybe that doesn't just resolve itself in an hour, you know, maybe, or like in Blue Jasmine, she just needed, and we need a long time to process things. You know what I'm saying? So if the cognitive dissonance, if things are like breaking down, I can see it being a difficult weekend. I have no freaking clue what to expect if that's how my last Friday went. I don't know what it could possibly be. But it's a surrender moment, guys. It's a surrender. Honestly, I would recommend having some kind of spiritual practice in place that helps you feel like you have your power back. For me, it's telekinesis. Like honestly, I was able to focus even better on Friday with the telekinesis. You need a really good boundary mentally, psychologically. This is a Michael Jordan week, okay? Michael Jordan, his superpower was that he could be present. He was present. He's like, why would I think about missing a shot I haven't taken yet? Don't trip yourself up with this Mercury Pluto stuff and just being your own worst enemy and thinking the worst and, you know, being like afraid of yourself or afraid of your power or afraid to trust yourself or something. You have to be very psychologically strong. And it doesn't mean that you're like infallible. It means that you can do what I did last Friday and like gulp it the frick down without like, you want to feel the emotion without lashing out on anyone, without harming yourself or anybody else, without like becoming lesser. You know, like when we grow and we have like a breakdown. But and then we grow and then we have a breakdown, but that breakdown is still higher than your previous low. So like when you grow, it's like you forward and you feel like you're going back, but it's still higher than your previous low. I've illustrated that before, but that's basically it. So, you know, the crunchy parts of like Friday, for instance, just see it as motivation. And it was like it was, you know, this Friday was like this emotional burning of my soul, but I'm still here and you're still here too. And you're going to still be here Friday, hopefully. So you just have to make peace with it. I would say make peace with things before the weekend so that you're prepared for whatever comes your way. When you have your own connection to your values, your virtues, what you believe about life, your self-esteem, nothing can shake those things. Those are all astral. So with this Mercury Cazimi, it's like things can feel and become a little bit more astral. And then there's a brief moment when it becomes physicalized, but it's very astral around Thursday. So spiritual power. Okay. All right. Saturday. Oh, I'm going fast this week, you guys. Saturday, the 21st, we have the ego death, the Sun square Pluto, Moon in Capricorn, trines Uranus, retrograde in Taurus, sextiles Neptune in Pisces, crosses Pluto in Capricorn. We have the quarter moon, the waxing, gaining in light quarter moon, Venus in Virgo trining Jupiter, retrograding in Taurus, Moon in Capricorn squaring Mercury in Libra. Then the moon ingresses into Aquarius, Mercury ingresses into Scorpio, and they're going to a little bit. So Saturday is that's a popping off day too. Now, when we have these transits, like a 3-day transit, the event can pop off at any point within those 3 days when the transit's like applying and separating and active and all of that. It'll just depend on your personal chart when you have an activation happening. And so we all feel inspiration to do things at different moments and have our realizations at different times. So keep all of that in mind. Saturday, the quarter, I just really, there is something really interesting happening Saturday with that quarter moon in Capricorn. We're only going to get one more next year of the Sun in Libra squaring Pluto in Capricorn, just one more for like the rest of our lives. So I feel like Saturday is like developing a little junior executive or something. It just has this feeling of like this whole week I'm calling adaptation, because like we're emotionally feeling the truth and then psychologically comprehending the philosophy, like the vision, and then taking care of business in a very professional way to make it so the end of the week. So Saturday is just a very boss day. Like people may be working on Saturday because that's just, it's that Capricorn energy is, even if it's fun for you, even if it's leisure, you'll still feel better when you're kind of productive. Maybe making arts and crafts with your kids, but like, you know, making like a birdhouse because it's, you have something to show for it or something, you know. That's just what's going to make us feel better. But I really feel like there might be a little yeah, like a little junior executive, or just like a little bringing something up to be for the one thing that got me through the 45 minutes of hell last Friday was holding on to the words of my teacher. He said something about something that I was applying to this email. And like, that was the only thing. That was the only thing. That was the thread of sanity that it was keeping me anchored to life. So, you know, whatever like the rules are, or like the protocols of life, like, you know, maybe you're just so bummed that your boss is going on maternity leave and you've got like this new boss and you've just got to deal with it, and you're like, you know, or what if like, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever the thing is that is like you're adapting to, whatever the new vision is like starting to like really manifest, and like you're seeing it and you're like, oh my God, this is the truth. This is it. It's big changes. It's big changes. You the greatest, it's not the fastest, it's not the strongest that survive, it's not the strongest that survive, it's not even the most intelligent that survive. It's those that are the greatest at adaptation. Those that can adapt the best are the survivors. And I think about Hollywood a lot, and I think about how every generation has like their emotional attachments to whatever the snapshot of Hollywood was when they first started. And whether that's, you know, Greta Garbo in silent films and moving into the talkies, or whether it, you know, whatever, moving from black and white to color, you know, whatever happens to be, like everyone has their own little nostalgia of, oh, you know, I have this book. I don't think it's available anymore. This is probably on some like list or something, but it's this homicide photographer's scrapbook from like the 30s in like the Middle West. It's very gruesome. I know. But there's a quote from this detective that says, there never was such a thing as the good old days. And that's true. So like people getting really emotionalized over, you know, media and news right now, there have always been genocides and massacres happening somewhere on the earth this entire time. I was just talking to someone about, I have all of my phones, say I count like 14 phones, cell phones. I never trade in phones. I always just buy a phone and just use it until forever. And it occurred to me, if I have so many phones, everyone has so many more phones, because I don't even get the newest, latest phone every year or anything. And every single cell phone has child labor stitched into it. Every single one. So all those people that think they're living the most purest organic life, no, you do. There's a website that you can see like how many slaves work for you. It's some website, and you put in details of your life, and they calculate the whole thing. So that's another thing that you might want to just have a boundary on, is the news stuff, and not just the news stuff. It's life happening, right? But to have a context to see it in, so that it doesn't dysregulate you and what you have going on. So Friday I was still motivated, but I was even more motivated. I had the chance to develop some new inspiration that I had previously that I'd written down. So, it was a great sesh, but the the internalization of power on Saturday has circumstances bringing the opportunity to you. So it's an opportunity to gain more mastery over yourself. It's an opportunity to be more self-possessed. It's an opportunity to use your power more effectively. And you just don't want that manipulated out of your hands. Because that's it. That's it. When like, that's why Facebook was so genius, is that the setup got people to open their own data to give into it. It wasn't coerced. It wasn't forced. It was all using the social construct and kind of weaponizing and leveraging that people care so much about what other people think of them. So that's another thing about this too, with this Libra stuff, is that as long as you're doing something different, out of your comfort zone, and you're not caring about superficial concerns, you'll be fine. You'll be okay. Because this is Pluto moon stuff. It's pretty serious. So Saturday looks pretty serious. There's an obstacle to overcome. There's a crisis in action. Like you have to do something. So you may be called upon to answer some things, answer some announcements, and answer to requests of you, or maybe to put in more paperwork or something. Like, you may feel like pressure to make some decisions, some executive decisions for your life. You may be the little junior executive in that Capricorn area of life and make some strong decisions. And I just want you to be confident. You really cannot lose your nerve. You can't be the driver that's like, oh, you got to commit to the turn. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really got to dig deep and trust yourself. Saturday. Let's move on. Sunday, the 22nd, we have Mercury now in Scorpio, trining Saturn, retrograding in Pisces. The moon in Aquarius is going to square Mars in Scorpio and square Jupiter, retrograding in Taurus. So I like that Mercury's trining Saturn. That's really great. I feel like there will be peace of mind after this week, after you fully adapt. Once you jump over that hurdle and you set the thing, then it's like everything else has to catch up, or everyone else has to come on board, or everything, so it's really like a very personal thing this week, where you make your bones, you decide what you're made of, you tell the world what you are, because you just don't want to be in any kind of conflict this week if you can at all help it. And you don't want to get spinning about world events. You don't want to get spun out into anything that has more control over you, that is tricking you to give your power away. Whether that's fears or anxieties, or whether that's arguing with someone about politics, or whether that's getting into a random fight at the car wash with someone, or, whatever it happens to be, you need to hold it down. And I feel like that Mercury in Scorpio trining Saturn is going to help us refocus on what really matters. So it's like, yeah, you can fight with me about this and you can fight with me about that, but it doesn't really matter. We already burned all of that away. That's all like superficial concern. And women out there, be very, very, very careful. Women will just naturally and organically trigger everyone's subconscious relationship with their feminine energy, with their mother energy. Whenever I see that someone, and this is why you need to like talk to people, whenever I see that someone is not seeing me correctly, like in a real world situation, depending on how bad it is, don't ignore the red flags, whether it's misogyny or discrimination or racism or something. It needs to be taken seriously by you. You need to take that seriously, because like for me, when it happens, if someone thinks I'm just like, I don't know, villain, make bad person, whatever, it's potentially creating a dangerous situation for me. It's potentially putting me in harm's way. And a very extreme example of that would be what just happened in Illinois with the landlord stabbing, I don't know if I can say this, the boy, the racial hatred. That's an extreme manifestation of that. But people have these feelings. Those feelings exist on a smaller level where they manifest as microaggressions. And it's pushing boundaries and testing boundaries to see, how much will this person allow me to disrespect them or underhandedly insult them, or um, oh, this friend trusts me so much. Some people are your friends not because they like you, but because they know that you are a good friend. So if you have friendships and you look at them and they're grimacing at you or something, those are the same feelings, but on a very, very much smaller level. And you have to decide if like that's good enough for you. Is it okay? Maybe before you were okay with a friend being jealous of you. Maybe you were complimented by it, but maybe you grow to do too well. Like that NBA player, his brother. That was so crazy. So, I see people kind of coming to terms with certain things and then laying their own law down or having to respond and go up against some kind of higher authority or bigger authority or answer to some board or something. And Sundays when it's like, it's done. It's done. We adapted or we didn't adapt. And, now we're just moving on. We're moving on. We settled it. Moving on. We're moving on. So, the only thing I'll say with the moon in Aquarius, making a square to both Mars and Jupiter, I would say don't be like too different, or don't be, this is like, if you're too different, I would say be patient. Be patient with people, be patient with situations. I would just say be patient, because I feel like the moon in Aquarius will have a lot of the future, the Jetsons, but like Taurus and Scorpio like need some time, So I would like, don't alienate people is what I'll say. Like, don't alienate people if they can't grasp like this big idea, like just, a slow drip, get it nice and kind of compact. That can also be very inspiring. Like moon, Jupiter, moon, Mars, that can be very motivating. Like I'm saying, whenever I see squares and oppositions, I'm like, wow, Natalie, you're gonna get really motivated. Something's really gonna motivate you. So, but we do have the Venus trining Jupiter that weekend. So I feel like there's things to be excited about, but it's just, can you pull your focus from the other stuff? Like you're adapting in order to make more room for something that is more in alignment for you. So that is it. That's like the core of the matter. So everything else that needs to burn away, just let it burn away. This is eclipse window. Whatever's meant to leave your life is just going to leave your life. Whatever's meant to be in your life is going to show up in your life. And you just need to get your own energy kind of together, So I would be encouraged. I would. But if you have the appropriate mentality of adaptation and trusting yourself, to maybe get out of some bad situations. You don't have to break up with people in person. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, just the end of the week, just be very careful and just be very safe and be very rational, be smart about things. Okay. Don't take any unnecessary chances or risks. You don't have to. And that's the thing, like, especially with women, it's so hard. Someone thinks that you're being nice to someone, and people think, oh, you're trying to do something, or you're trying to, you know what I'm saying? And on the other hand, oh, if I'm not acting nice enough, now I'm a bitch, and now, people hate me. Or, it gets really, with this Libra stuff and with like the niciness and the nicey stuff, and some of that kind of breaking down for something more authentic to come through. Just be careful. Just be careful. You don't ever have to. Just be careful. Just be careful. Just be safe. Trust your intuition. And yeah, if you're doing anything because you're afraid of what other people are going to say about you or think about you, or if you're afraid of a loss or a lack, run in the opposite direction. That's just like a fallacy. You could be afraid of doing something that's more in alignment for you because of a lack of like money, funds, resources, but you just don't know what's waiting for you when you go as you're guided and you follow alignment, then something miraculous or wonderful happens or whatever, right? So but it takes that self-trust to get to that point, launch point. So that's what I have to say about all that. I think, ooh, very nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. This is kind of just a heavy astrologically dense week with the Sun and Mercury crossing the South Node, Mercury, Sun, Cazimi in the square to Pluto, quarter moon, crisis in action on an eclipse, portal energy. So I maintain everything that I say. Feel what you have to feel the beginning of the week. Put the vision together closer to the middle of the week, and then you're either going to need to respond to things coming into your life, or you're going to be going ahead and taking actions and making your own announcements and whatnot. So may the force be with us all. And just so you know, I'm very happy with the screenwriting work I did on Friday, going into Friday night. So anything negative that happens, anything that does leave your life, turn it into a positive. You just have to get used to alchemizing the energy. Okay. I love you guys. Take very good care. I will be back soon. Until then, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful heads, darlings. Mwah.